Hello, everybody. I hope I nailed that right. I usually give it about a second or so extra time, but I think that we're good. Um, but he did, yeah. All right. Sorry, I had muted the I had the video muted when we started, and I
Mhm.
heard countdown from 5. So that's always fun.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like that.
Yep, always fun.
I'll edit that
Our
out
systems
afterwards.
in YouTube are always consistent and reliable. Hello, everyone. My name is Trumps LP. Welcome to our political recap. Always interesting to see how YouTube will throw us a curveball every time we start a stream. Megan and I have been considering making some kind of intro for this thing, so we don't have to deal with that anymore. We'll see.
We'll get there.
But yes, as always, I'm joined by Omegon. Say hello, Omegon.
I didn't bring a beer.
That's okay. Now that
Hello,
I
Omegon.
have water. I have water because I'm a good person.
My sister won this raffle thing, and she got a bunch of these test tube shots, sours, apple, berry, cola, cherry, and then thought, oh, whoa, let's give them to my brother.
Yes, because you strike me as like the cherry berry shot type.
Actually, one of them is called cherry berry.
Oh, I fucking nailed it. I'm so good.
It's got cherry berry, berry, apple, and cola. Cola cube, sorry. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. Nice.
So has Omegon been doing anything interesting this past week?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I had some work to do here and there, some garden things. We were going to move the cabin. So the one major thing I did, which I'm looking forward to tomorrow, because after 4, maybe nearly 5 months, when my brother-in-law mentioned he always wanted to put Carolina Reapers in Tennessee Fire and, leave it a little while and drink it, he forgot about it because he was drunk.
Oh.
I was sober and did it. Well, today I went into Poundland. I bought a measuring jug, poured the drink into that, took the chilies out of the bottle, poured everything back into it, and then I decided to test it. It's going to hurt him.
Oh no!
It's going
As soon as
I put it on my tongue.
it's going to hurt a lot.
When it touched my tongue, it wasn't even steady, gradual. It was boom. 5 months almost of this sitting in the corner of my room underneath a table, hidden away. It works.
Oh,
I'm tomorrow, because they're doing the Easter egg hunt, I'm going to give him the bottle. If he offers me a shot, I'm going to say, no, you do one. It's all good. All good, bro. He'll do a shot and be like, what have you done?
Tennessee Fire.
The best part is it's a whole liter of it he's got to deal with.
Oh no! Well, at that point, that's an April Fool's joke that just keeps on giving.
I wished that we were over there on April Fool's yesterday. That would have been fantastic. Very well timed.
Yes, I haven't been doing a whole lot. I've been steadily watching the decline of my country. That's pretty much it.
You mean the absolutely beautiful, resplendent work your president has been doing, according to your media?
Yes, absolutely glowing reviews as always.
There's a whole article I saw this evening of him, and they had to do a whole article on this of him casually walking upstairs with an umbrella in one hand and a suitcase in the other, just to show he's not a geriatric. Okay.
Oh well, good for him. You know what's really really funny? It's one of the news stories that came out this week that was minuscule, but people did talk about it for a day. Was that his dog bit somebody else?
Oof.
So early on in the in when they were doing the transfer, a rescue dog that he owns named Major had nipped somebody.
Okay.
Had nipped, I think, a Secret Service agent.
So what I'm hearing is we need to put Biden down. Okay, gotcha.
And they said, look, he's a rescue dog. Like, he might have residual feelings on these things. Plus, we're moving him from his home, and now we're putting him into a strange environment. This could happen. At which point I said, you know what? That's actually correct.
Mm-hmm.
That is fair.
Yeah.
So I believe they had sent him in for training after that, and then this week he nipped at somebody else. And I'm like, okay, no lie, in some places that dog would be put down.
Oh, that dog would be in the UK. That dog would already be asleep, mate.
Yeah, that's absolutely terrible. But it was such a small story. But of course, you're not going to euthanize the president's dog.
Not with that attitude.
Could you imagine?
It's I can imagine. It seems unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially because he is part of the Obama administration, former Obama administration, which is connected to the Clinton administration. It's like, you put the dog to sleep, I'll put you to sleep.
Yeah.
They'll find you with 2 bullet holes in the back of your head and call it a suicide.
Well, that's something.
Clintoning. Yes, Iceman Northland. Are we going to talk about the bodies under the bridge video?
Wait, what?
Yes.
What?
That phrasing is a little bad, but yeah.
What?
Part of our glorious immigration policy at the moment, because of the sheer amount of people coming over the border in the United States, typically through the Rio Grande and the Texas-Arizona area.
Okay.
I said and in the Texas-Arizona area. They are running out of places to put these people. The detention facilities, the migrant holding facilities, they are overrun. And I mean, like, these are buildings that were supposed to house 250 people. They're holding thousands.
Are they?
Yeah, it's awful. They are literally more close to what one would unironically call a concentration camp because of the sheer concentration of people in that place. Not, excluding the connotation of that word. But, so they've run out of places to put them. So $87 million was allocated to Health and Human Services to put them into hotels in border cities. Even that was kind of too much, because apparently it came out this week that there are migrants that are being held under a bridge.
Oh, God.
And there's actually a picture, like a horrific picture.
I'm not showing pictures.
Of a father holding what looks to be about a 4 or 5 year old girl. Like, she's wrapped up in the Mylar blanket. He's not wrapped up and just has his arm over her and trying to sleep. They're not sleeping on dirt. They're sleeping on gravel and rock. Let's see if I can find this picture.
Just for
I'm going to send it to you.
Just going to say, for the sake of it, if this stream was not demonetized before, it certainly was when we said bodies under bridges. Although, I got a complaint last week that because the video did get monetized, which wasn't me, I don't add additional ads to it, YouTube then slapped about an ad every 5 minutes into that stream. I had to then this evening, because I only saw the comment this evening, go into it. They've deleted their comment, by the way. I don't know who you were. I went back into the stream and then immediately removed all the ads except for one at the start and one at the end. Because I'm like, you can't put like 12 to 15 ads on a stream like that. You kill the channel because no one wants to watch it on playback.
Yeah, because it's not. Who the fuck wants to deal with that?
I'll deal with it after the stream as well. Even if it's yellow or green, I don't care. I'll go and make sure there aren't any additional ads. It's just another thing I then have to waste my time dealing with. Oh, hang on. Bodies Under Bridges donated $5. Thank you for that. Smash like. That was for you.
Thank you, Bodies Under Bridges.
Very kind of you. Yeah, nice. It's a very strange thing to hear that your government has signed off on spending money on putting people who've crossed the border illegally into hotels. Am I getting that wrong?
Yeah, $87 million was allocated to put migrant families that have crossed the border illegally into hotels. Yes.
What's their plan afterwards? Patriate them?
Probably. Add them to the Democratic electorate?
They're not going to be added to the Democratic electorate, though. They don't.
Says you.
They're not going to vote.
I mean, their name might vote.
Okay. We're not going down that path. Crowder got yeeted recently for controversial stuff. Let's not get into that.
No, Crowder got yeeted for apparently spam and deceptive practices, in which that rule he did not break.
I know. I saw the Instagram video.
Oh my god.
For those who don't know, Stephen Crowder covered. He used sources from, was it from the CDC and the WHO? He used actual sources
Yes.
from official, designated, like respected, air quotes, authoritative voices that YouTube themselves back to recite their points. Thank you, bodies not under bridges. That's very kind of you.
Not under bridges?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
To then talk about coronavirus, basically. And they gave him a community guideline strike, even though he only said what the CDC and the WHO have been saying. He did not say anything controversial, which is why we have to be a little bit careful as well. Because I noticed before we even started this stream on YouTube, the thumbnail was not there.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that was weird. That was very weird. Because there's a thumbnail. I can promise you there is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see it. I see it in the link that you send, but when I opened the stream, it wasn't there. So that
it wasn't. That was really weird, and I was very concerned. Oh God, I don't want to see them. I don't want to see that picture. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, that I was sending to you.
I see
Isn't
it.
it just horrible and sad? And also, I may have been mistaken that may be a boy. I don't know.
It doesn't matter. It's a child. I feel really bad for them. I really do. But I can't say anything beyond that. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, right? Okay. There was a remain in Mexico policy under Trump. This curbed the attempts for people to actually cross the border,
right?
Because they would be deported back, and they would have to wait there in order to get processed. If they crossed over illegally, they were just sent back. And a lot of them were deterred from crossing because of it.
Okay.
Now, a lot of them also apparently don't like how the Mexican authority treats them. Because I'm sure the Mexican authority isn't really too fond of people from South America crawling up through their country to stay at, the Rio Grande in their border cities to then get, escorted over.
Right.
Because despite the cartels owning most of the Mexican government's operation, some of the cops are just cops. Some of them are just normal people. They're not all these, bought and paid for plants.
Plenty of those.
There's plenty of them, and everywhere in the United States, in fucking Mexico, in the UK, I'm sure. So like it's not just a South America thing where these problems exist. I mean, corruption is everywhere.
In the YouTube chat, there's a question. Great Sky Troll anti-drama. I'm curious, what's happening in DC right now?
Yes. So I had just mentioned this to Meg before we started, and I did want to actually open with this, but I got distracted. So I changed it to I'm sorry. Fucking dickhead. Around 1:00 p.m. today, there were reports of a gunfire outside of the Capitol building. About 2 weeks ago, they brought down the outer perimeter around the Capitol building. They still had an inner perimeter established, but they took down the outer perimeter to make it a little less like a fortress and a little bit more reasonable. Well, today, a person rammed a barricade on Constitution Avenue, which is basically where the Congress people would go into work. It's basically their entrance location.
Okay.
He rammed into the barricade, ramming 2 Capitol police officers. And as he was ramming, attempting to basically run the barricade, police shot at the driver and killed the driver of the car when he got out of the vehicle and was holding what appeared to be a knife. That's according to the MSN reporting, where they shot the driver after he got out of the vehicle after crashing, holding a knife.
Okay.
Now, from what it sounds like, one officer is dead already. He was killed after a car rammed into law enforcement at a security barricade. think that means that he was standing in front of the barricade, which is not where you stand. By the way, that's actually the opposite. It's like standing in front of the wall and going, "Well, why is this wall here?"
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah. So unfortunately, that man has been pronounced dead. So that is a terrible, terrible tragedy. But I don't know what to tell you. In the line of duty, it's always kind of shitty when these things happen.
Yeah, it's not good.
But there's not much I can say to it. I don't like the thoughts and prayers thing. I don't. But I usually say them anyway.
Before the stream, you and I had spoken about this, and I strongly take the view that any wall around Capitol Hill needs to be removed. It's somewhat ironic to be very much anti-walls down south, but have one around yourselves while you govern. And if the police and secret services and all that can't deal with it, that sounds like a them problem, not a problem that the people of the US should have to watch their democracy be protected by, i.e. a wall, not the law enforcement.
Now, what's really unfortunate about this whole thing is because of that sentiment that you and I both share when it comes to the walls around the Capitol, this is just more fuel to that fire. It's almost like reiterating the need for that wall and barrier, because obviously this person was, trying to do something bad, right? However, at the moment, we don't know anything about this person. We don't know their motive. We don't have a single clue about who he is, why he did it, and we'll never know because he's dead.
In the United Kingdom, our main parliamentary building is, as everyone knows, the Houses of Parliament. Now, yes, Downing Street, where the Prime Minister resides, but also where a lot of business there is conducted, is gated. Yes. But that is like the White House in America. It's protected for reasons. That's where governing happens. Whitehall is another location more commonly associated with the Chancellor. Also protected. But
there's a fence.
Yeah.
And barbed wire.
So the point I'm making is we have law enforcement at all three of those major locations. The Houses of Parliament, though, are open, mostly, when there's not coronavirus going around. They have tours. People get to go round there. It's open. Normally. It's not so insulated that people can't be there. And because you put a wall there, you are the absolute... Well, they are. Capitol Hill is not... It cannot be considered a government if it's not open to the public. In the context of people being able to freely go by, it's not. It looks very authoritarian and not democratic. But that's just my view as a British person whose buildings are accessible. Except for Downing Street. Obviously, we can't go to Downing Street. It's a shitty little house, okay? That's all it is.
Okay.
That's just me. I'm just poking fun at your Capitol Hill wall. I don't care for it.
Oh, I'm not a fan of it either. Real talk. And I think they're going to use this opportunity to push it again, to keep it up, to keep it longer. Yeah, and it's not gonna change anything, unfortunately, because whenever some of these things happen, like whenever it's just like at like such opportune times, these situations just reveal themselves.
Yeah.
Like, we knew that they didn't want to take down the outer barricades. They had pushed for it for an extended period of time. They kept it going. They, all this stuff. And then suddenly, after they take it down for 2 weeks, somebody, and also when there are no senators there, because they're on spring recess right now, somebody rams a barricade and approaches with a knife. A knife? Really? Weird.
It's something. I'll give you that.
So, I don't know, dude, but it's.
How long do you think the walls around Capitol Hill will stay up?
until until they no longer need that political push anymore.
The problem they've got with that is that can't look good for anyone when it comes to election season at all. Even those who are running for Congress, it can't look good to say, "Oh, but we're protected when we're at work." Yes, but now no one can criticize you when you're at work.
True. The other thing they have to know is the Capitol is the people's house. It is public government property. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it is supposed to be accessible by the public.
You mean like the Houses of Parliament, yeah?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
I fully believe that there is a gallery in
There is
in the Capitol.
There is in Houses of Parliament as well. I no lie would love to go and watch PMQs happen live. It sounds really lame.
Didn't Extinction Rebellion run a protest in the gallery at one point, like a year ago?
Yeah.
It's something that I remember. So, and I know that people have done sit-ins in in Capitol buildings. I mean, just look at the Kavanaugh situation, right? They staged a protest in the center of the Capitol building. Fine, right? So I think it's in very poor taste that they do this, and I don't know what to tell you. I think that I don't know. I think something's got to give, and I don't know where it's gonna come from. I don't know if it's gonna come from the government, and I don't know if it's gonna come from the people.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Well, actually, even if it did last, let's say 2 years, that would undoubtedly change when Congress is when they get re-elected, because as happened with Trump and happened with previous presidents, they normally struggle to keep the House.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's not... I'm not saying Biden will, although it would be very interesting if he did, considering there's so little accountability in this presidency at the moment.
Correct.
It'd be very interesting to see who's that gullible. And some could say it's the new young voters who are like just idealists. They don't fully understand this consequence. But I'm sorry, there are many people who are older and younger who are regretting voting. It's the same people. Same when people who voted for Trump, they regretted voting for him. Some people regretted voting for Brexit. It's always going to exist. But I don't know. It's a bit...
John Owen chat. Wonder why you remember people gluing themselves naked as a protest. Was that what it was? I thought it was one where they had like handcuffed themselves to like the gallery door or whatever like that.
Honestly, I can't remember at this point, but I do recall. No, weren't they topless?
I don't know. Aren't most hippies?
Yes, but you do have to sort of, if you say nude or topless, they're not exactly the same thing, are they?
I don't know, that's a good point. Yeah.
I think they were topless. Honestly, I don't actually remember enough. I
just realized that we're currently debating. Were these?
What are the parameters
my radio
for
while
nude?
I drive. Oh yeah.
We'll take that. Thank you,
Right.
Jono. We appreciate that. On that note, you may notice on the screen it says listen on Spotify. We are on Spotify. Please consider following us. We just surpassed 50 followers. Thank you very much. We'd like to keep growing.
Yes, and thank you for all of those who have supported us up until this point.
If someone could get the link, where is it?
Is
I
it in
will.
your description?
Yeah, I'm gonna go and get. I'm gonna go and get it and put it in the chat as well. Link.
Yes. Okay. So, that's kind of what's going on in America. There is one more thing, but that's kind of like our title.
Well, there is something else. So... There's something else. There is the equal pay for equal work.
Oh, that's right. The glorious complaints from the women's Olympic soccer team.
Megan Rapinoe.
Yeah, and that name seems familiar to me for some reason.
So, for those who don't know, in the US, women's soccer doesn't get paid anywhere near as much as the men's soccer. The same in the United Kingdom, and there's a reason for that. Not as many people care about it. And I've always taken the belief people will care about it if you keep trying, you keep working, because yes, it won't be resolved in this generation. It's the same with people integrating when it comes to immigration. It takes generations. It's not simply you're integrated. And I've always believed the same with racism. You can't simply, it's dealt with. It's going to take time. The same applies to sports when it comes to evolving markets. People will become more and more interested in the women's soccer or any sport that women are not paid as much in, so we can exclude tennis for the most part.
Yeah.
But then, with the women's soccer team for the last, say, 5-10 years, in the US, because they do really well on the international stage, they believe they should be paid as much as men, and then they talk about how they're doing really well in the ratings, forgetting that it doesn't matter if people like the sport or not. If your country is in the final, I can promise you this, everyone is watching. Yeah, the same would apply here if we were doing, I don't know, some American football, but a British team was in the final of the Super Bowl. I promise you this, the whole of the United Kingdom is watching. We don't care, but we want to see if we win, just so we can bring back that Lombardi trophy. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, for the Super Bowl? Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It's just it's that thing of it's not about caring about the sport. We want to win. Yes, and so when Rapinoe...
It's more of a nationalistic pride thing
it
than
is.
It is like...
I agree. And that is why when Rapinoe then goes to your president and your vice president demanding equal pay, where there was a video of this on Twitter, and the video talks about how the president wants to deal with this for equal pay for equal work, and discuss the progress in the fight for this. I don't see... It's not a case of, like, I will say, equal pay for equal work is common sense. Sure, if you have a stagnant market with no competitiveness, I believe in some instances it should be competitive. It really should be. You get the best out of people, you absolutely do. You cannot say, flat rate, everyone earns the same in this area, in this area, in this area, in this area, and so on. Because you've got to be able to bring money into it. It's all about business as well, because if you're working, what are you doing? Working for a business. If you're working, and that includes governments to an extent, although they are about running, yeah, it is running a business of sorts. It's not really a profit one, but it's a business. Unless your return is positive, you can't then claim to want the same amount of money as as somebody else who brings in more money. Just because you've done really well on the international level.
I mean, the simple answer is, okay, can you name me the starting line? Like, if you were a big sports fan and I asked you, could you name the starting point guard of the Lakers? Somebody probably could answer that. If I asked similar sports fan, I don't know. I don't do sports. But if I asked, could you name the sweeper of the U.S. women's soccer team? I bet you not a single fucking person. Like, who owns Megan Rapinoe's jersey?
Right, first of all, I don't think she plays anymore. I think she's the coach. I just want to say, for the sake of it, I have watched a fair amount of women's soccer in the United Kingdom. It's good because they don't dive. But yes, they're not paid as much because genuinely, the hooligans that would rather watch this are not interested in the women's team. Not because it's not... the argument is also about, like, a personal preference and how competitive it can appear. It does not appear to be as competitive to many who are the more casual fan. So you have to try and get either them on your side or try and get the very people who aren't interested as well, the ladies, to watch you play. And it's not as simple as this.
Also, the starting point guard usually for the Lakers is LeBron. I didn't realize he was out.
I honestly didn't. I don't even. I'm a Heat fan. Hello, thank you, Leona, for the $5 donation. Hi, Whoopsie.
Oh, thank you, thank you, Karma, and Wild, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have multiple people.
Before we started, I'd mentioned this to you, and you said something else. Do you remember what you said?
Dude, I don't remember anything. No, I don't. Tell me, what did I say?
I honestly don't remember. I was hoping you'd remember. It was something different to equal pay for equal work, and you referenced something else, and I can't remember. But it wasn't what I've been rambling on about for the past 5 minutes.
I mean, it was just like an analogy that I had made.
Probably, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, and
T. Higgins, thank you for that $25. Well, $24.99. I appreciate that. That's very generous of you.
it's
Thank you
very
very
generous of
much.
you. Thank you very much. Um, I
Um.
I don't remember. The point overall is.
Oh, it was the fact that the women's soccer team would lose against
Oh, that was
a
it.
JV high school men's soccer team.
By the way, I
It
would
was because they
actually watch
suck.
that. I would watch that. I'm not even
They
lying.
did.
I would.
Somebody had commented in the thing. Professional women's USA team. This is Jono. Professional women's USA team lost to boy 5-0. UK women lost to Salford under 16.
Australian women did as well, I
16.
believe, to a 15-year-old team, I
Yeah, 3 to
believe.
11.
Um,
So that was what I had said before when we
so
were talking
yeah, it
about this.
was. Just for the sake of it, I take no issue with women's sports. I really don't. I watch plenty of it. I love boxing. I watch men and women. It's not as hard hitting, no, but skillfully, it's fantastic. I'm not really a fan of Clarissa Shields, but I think it's just that there's an ego there I don't care for. I don't care for it in many boxers, to be honest, and it just bugs me. But it makes
For
them
similar
entertaining.
reasons, I imagine.
It makes them entertaining, so I can respect it at the same time. But I will also concede, even in boxing, they don't pull in the numbers. They really don't. You have to be backed by one of the big promoters and put on a card with other names that are mostly guys so that they can sell the tickets until you yourself have built your name up enough to be able to sell them yourself. And so you can say equal pay for equal work, but in reality, and I mention boxing because boxing is not that at all. Boxing contracts are negotiated by fight. It's not going to be...
Think of it in any other circumstance, right? So equal pay for equal work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means that if you are, let's say, an actor, right? And you have to pay, and you are on screen for an hour.
Yeah.
Let's say you're like a supporting actor in a Mission Impossible. Does that mean that you get paid as much as Tom Cruise?
So you make a point, and actually it reminds me of something. Benedict Cumberbatch, when he was cast as Doctor Stephen Strange, indeed, when he was cast as Stephen Strange, he made it a contractual thing that his female co-stars that are like headline like him get paid the same amount that he gets paid. But I didn't know if he meant as a flat rate or by proportion of the number of minutes they're on the screen. Because there's no way.
On how the contract was negotiated.
That's the point. I don't think they would have paid 5 to 10 million for Tilda Swinton if she got the same amount of minutes as him. I don't think they would have done that. Disney.
Do you think that's why Captain Marvel wasn't on screen during Endgame for very long?
No, I think it's because they didn't know how to use an OP character that had no character development and was literally just paid muscle without muscle.
Who got one shot?
Yeah.
One tapped in the fight.
Well, not just that. Thanos headbutted
Stone of
her,
power?
and she didn't move. I'm sorry. She flew through his spaceship. I'm sorry. The guy who conquered conquered so much of the galaxy. Apparently, she didn't know anything about it until it was too late and he'd already done the snap. I'm sorry. She was clearly waiting to be paid equally, or on a bit of an equality kick. We'll just let him do it anyway. He'll probably take out some of the guys,
Yeah, and actually, real talk, like equal pay for equal work doesn't just go through this whole idea of just like the women. This also goes for supporting men roles, like the fucking what is his name? The fat guy in Doctor Strange, the monk who was like the best character. I can't remember the actor's name. I'm looking up the IMDb, but he was on screen for so much, and he was so fucking funny. God, is he even? I swear to God, if he's not even in this top list of cast, I'm gonna be upset.
I couldn't tell you.
I don't even in the top 10 in the fucking casting list.
Honestly, I don't know the name of the guy. I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name. And for the sake of it, those referencing trans women flooding into contact and combat sports. You mentioned Fallon Fox, Sean. Fallon Fox, as I've said in response, has been around for a long, long time. So I've commented on that before. Ronda Rousey, when she was active as a mixed martial artist, outright said, I would not fight Fallon Fox because Fallon Fox nearly killed somebody.
Who?
Fallon Fox, a mixed martial artist.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Oh, and it's Benedict
Oh,
Wong.
yes, I do know. This person actually almost like cracked somebody's.
Yeah, cracked skull. The actor you were thinking of
skull.
is Benedict Wong. He played
Benedict Wong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, his name is Benedict Wong. He played the character.
Yeah, and he
Wong.
plays Wong.
Yeah.
Fuck. But yeah, if he didn't get paid as much,
he's a Lancashire boy. Nice. Sorry, he's British. I'm okay with this.
He's also hilarious. Like, he played it very well. But anyway, like that's my thing. Like, you have to also consider, like, these pushes for equal pay for equal work have to be spread across the board, right? They can't just be like, oh, we're going to increase this for women. Well, okay, is that equality or is that just?
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's not. It's like, by the virtue of your birth or by your gender identity, you now get paid more than somebody else. I'm sorry, but that's the argument for America being in a patriarchy, and I don't believe it. Right? That is exactly the argument for why America is in a patriarchy. Oh, because the men, they make more, and there's a glass ceiling for the women and pink taxes and whatnot. Look, everyone knows it's full of shit. You know it's full of shit. The advertisers know it's full of shit. You think the people who made the freaking the razors and why they made them extra like cost more, they don't know damn well why they made it cost more. No, they were just out there going, oh, we're gonna stick it to these women and their razors. No, it didn't happen that way. But people will honestly say that is actually what's going on.
And I would say, just on the sport thing, if it's anything like equality and how people strive for it, it is also referenced in the chat. The only way you're going to realistically do it is to tear others down, because there's no way you can fund without just harming the taxpayer even more, which I've heard about already. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Don't get me wrong. There's ways that the women's soccer team could be just more profitable in general and therefore draw in a bigger revenue stream.
Yeah.
We could do that. And I think that would be beneficial to everyone. I think it would give everyone what they wanted.
Yeah.
But advertisers would need to push them as hard as they push the men's teams. That means that, you see a 40-foot LeBron mural on a building. Well, you need to put up some women's basketball players, some women's soccer players, that kind of stuff. You need to put forth the money to make people at least aware that it happens.
Yeah.
Because I think, honestly, some people just aren't aware that, like, where they can watch women's soccer.
There's that too.
Or their packages for DirecTV or whatnot don't even offer it.
I do also want to add, a lot of American sports, so soccer is not there, no offense. There are some interests, yes, but it's not there. A lot of American sports are ingrained to your holidays as well. Soccer is not. It really isn't. But like really baseball, NFL, hockey, they're so... I don't know about hockey, but they're ingrained, and I just don't think soccer can ever be like that. So you can complain about not being paid as much, but in reality, it's a massive cultural shift that would be required, and you're not going to be able to force that one.
Yeah, that's true too. If I had to say what are the American sports, my brain would go to baseball and football first before soccer.
I'd probably put hockey before soccer as well. It's not really American, but you've got huge teams.
Because of the Canadians that we've got.
Go Canucks! Sorry, I like hockey as well.
I would honestly say even some UFC fighting is I wouldn't call boxing.
I don't know. No, maybe not. But boxing does. Vegas, MGM Grand. And New York, Madison Square Garden. You've got some decent venues in Texas. I watch plenty of boxing.
I think we've got a good culture for boxing. but I don't think
I
it's
think mixed
like
martial arts has
I
taken
wouldn't call
over
it an
in your
American.
country. I think
Yeah, I would
MMA.
agree.
You,
UFC, MMA, that kind
you've
of
got
stuff took
UFC,
over.
you've got Bellator, you've got ONE as well. Big companies. There's some Muay Thai and kickboxing going over in your country as well. It's getting some steam. I do watch a lot of I watch a lot of combat sport. I just soccer does not draw the numbers. I'm sorry, Money Mayweather, 2 fights a year, pulling in 80 million. How much does
Yeah.
women's US soccer pull in? And this is again that thing of, okay, if you want to equal pay for equal work, sure. Someone go pay Clarissa Shields 40 million, please. She fronted an event.
Ooh, question. Do you think that if the betting odds were better for, like if more people were active in betting on women's sports, that you would see a larger turnout?
No.
Okay. That was a thought just because I know that boxing has a, it is
Boxing does,
popular to
yeah.
bet on.
People don't know
So
yet
that,
with women's boxing because so much of it hasn't been televised. We don't have as much analysis that unlike boxing. Sorry. Unlike in boxing, we get to see so many fights from the guys, so we can build up a understanding of what they can do and how they're improving, right? With women's, no, there is nowhere near as much coverage. It's so much harder to see anything, and you can force it on people, but honestly, people don't care as much. Also, unlike in the men's, women get world title shots a lot earlier because there's not as much domestic action either. I can. Oh, what's her name? I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. Irish women's boxer. What's her name? Katie Taylor. That's it. She is a former footballer and an Irish professional boxer. Let's have a look at her boxing record. She won a world title in her 7th fight. Right? Usually in the men's, 20. That's how many fights. Because domestically, you need to prove yourself. You need to cut your teeth. You need to develop some skill. And that's not to say there isn't any. Right? It's not to say there isn't any skill here. But when you've got more world title fights than you have fights prior to being a champion, you aren't somebody that's, you're not somebody who's cut their teeth. You're somebody who's been thrown in. And you're being promoted. She's been promoted, and I don't mean to be rude to her. She's been promoted by Matchroom, biggest promoter in the UK at the moment. Massive on the international stage now as well. I don't mean it as a shot, but all you're doing is holding onto belts. She's undisputed as a lightweight world champion. That's fantastic. But you didn't do anything domestically. You didn't build a fan base, so we don't have much to go on. And a lot of fans that watch, yes, there's going to be casuals that watch because Irish or cause female or cause reasons. But in reality, it's not. No, we need to see this. And I would say for the sake of it, she is, amateur-wise, she has pedigree. Yes, no denying that. And I'm not going to try and deny that. But when it comes to what we get to see, unless you are Katie Taylor and you are being promoted heavily, which honestly you can't be because it's not as feasible. It's still not feasible. It's not going to have a return. And that sounds harsh, but it's a sad state of affairs. Sorry.
So this has been our random sports tangent.
Sorry, I love sports.
That's okay. I'm down for it because it's something different. But it has relevance in the political sphere because of Megan Rapinoe's comments
And
literally
Biden's.
appealing to our president to make something change.
Well, yes,
So,
your president, Harris.
Yeah. So I mean, there is reason for this.
Should we talk about something before the main event? I guess.
Good terms. Sure.
Okay,
What do you got?
I'll quickly talk about it. I was going to talk about the SNP and the fact that Alex Salmond has started a new party, but I've decided against that because the media are still talking about his accusers, even though he was found not guilty, as if they are themselves innocent. They're not. He was found not guilty. So, instead, earlier this week, and it's been trending on Twitter, a report was released. It's called the Commission on Race and Ethnic Disparities Report. We've been waiting for this for a while. Because this report would discuss institutional racism in the United Kingdom. This was trending when it came out for the most surprising reason. Because the United Kingdom has been found to not have institutional racism. The UK, in the report, is believed to no longer have a system that is rigged against minorities. Now, the Prime Minister said the report was original and stimulating, but did not agree with absolutely everything in it. Of course, he has to say that, but this is an independent report. The equalities campaigners have criticised it, campaigners have criticised for downplaying the extent of racism in British society and institutions. Well, the former Equality Human Rights Commissioner, who has said that there's a crisis at number 10 when it comes to acknowledging and dealing with persistent race inequality. But it wasn't them that did the report. This has led to people stepping down. It's led to many saying, yes, but the UK is clearly racist cause reasons. And it's the argument, and you said before we started, it's semantics. It's the argument of, it's like absolute relative poverty. Which side do you take? I prefer absolute. Relative is subjective. It's not an actual number to work with. And it's the same here. How do you define racism? Do you define it as prejudice based on skin colour, or do you base it on, and then, as we discussed, the argument of what systems are in place that need tearing down? But then, and I am going to quote what you told me before, I think, paraphrase even, if there is no system, then there is no racism. People want to tear down all these systems, so what do we do once they're gone?
Right. The whole premise being that, if it's systematic racism, what system is in place that would put down minorities? If there's institutional racism, what institution is founded or has the idea that we are going to put down minorities? In the United States, they had that same thought when they said that during the 2008 housing crisis, that a predatory lender were targeting minority communities. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna put this hypothetical out there. If I were running a business, mm-hmm. would I, basically the whole idea of the 2008 housing crisis where people took on loans that they couldn't pay back. If I were that lender, why would I give somebody a loan that I knew they would never pay back? That's the idea of predatory lending, right?
Right.
Why the fuck would I do that? That's the worst business decision ever. I should want to pick the people who are going to pay me back, because then I get money. I get the interest back, right? I put this investment in, and then I get money out of it. It makes no sense that they called this system an institutional or systematic racist institution, because it just so happened that the people who were overwhelmingly taking out loans they couldn't pay back were minorities.
Yes. Well, there's a bit more to this, by the way. There is a Commission on Race and Ethnic Disparities that was launched last year in the wake of Black Lives Matter protests during the summer. You know, the ones that sprayed up the Churchill statue, telling us everything that we already knew, that he's racist, so a big box had to be put over him. The report said that the UK was not yet a post-racial country, but family structure and social class had a bigger impact than race on people's life chances, arguing that racial discrimination had often been misapplied to account for every observed disparity between ethnic groups.
Yes.
And that references to racism in the UK being institutional or structural has sometimes been used without evidence. It's the argument of saying buzzwords, give me attention.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's true, isn't it? I mean, it's obviously just because you say it's racist does not make it racist.
So, the commission chairman, Tony Sewell, I'm going to quickly look him up first, because I'm wondering if he is himself... Oh, he is, he's black. So, I'm sure there's a few comments people make with regards to him and this report. He is an education consultant and ex-charity boss, receiving criticism over comments he made in the report about how the British Empire should be taught in schools. Now, this does tie back to the fact that every major British public or government building has a flag above it now. and schools teach like monarchy stuff. And there was a school during the week that the students ordered that flag to be torn down and the monarchy to not be discussed at school. And the headmaster kowtowed. That's just pathetic. I don't care for the whole flag thing in the first place. I never have. But the monarchy, come on, it's part of our culture. In his foreword, he wrote, there is a new story about the Caribbean experience which speaks to the slave period not only being about profit and suffering, but how culturally African people transformed themselves into a remodeled African Britain. They believe that one of the race equality think tanks believes that that is a positive spin on slavery. Which isn't...
Well, okay. I kind of see where they're going with it.
I do
and the
too.
reason why I say that is because when the Spanish came over and conquered the Caribbean islands and basically took the Taino people and said, okay, here's the deal. You can either change your religion, you can become Catholic, or we will continue to subjugate you. The positive spin element that one would then report back to their monarch is they have decided to take Jesus into their lives. Whereas what they didn't tell you was under threat of perjury and not perjury, prejudice and subjugation, they have decided the the option that hurt them the least. So that's kind of what it sounds like your report is saying here.
Yeah. Understandably, Sewell has taken a fair amount of flack, not just for that, but for the report itself, because even though he's black, he's not saying what others want him to say, and that's gonna.
Oh, they calling him the
token.
Token or the uncle.
Tom, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's that. Perhaps we should talk about what this entire stream is titled, which actually was quite lucky because you and I hadn't spoken for most of this week because you were doing adult stuff and I was doing Meg stuff.
Yes.
And then I noticed in my country this is still a bit of a thing. I didn't realise in America it was as well, and I was like, oh, whoa. It turns out we've got something good here. Nice.
Yes. So it's very interesting. Of course, we're talking about the vaccination passport system. And the way they're floating this in the media is very, very understated, very, very quiet. I don't know if you've noticed that in the UK, but...
yes and no. Hang on, what did you say again?
I've noticed they've underreported it.
Not in the UK, no. Sorry, I misheard you.
That's
in
okay.
the UK,
in the United States,
this is huge.
Oh, okay. In the United States, we've been hard hitting on conversations about like the border. Like that's all I've been hearing about.
In the UK,
that's from the conservative side.
In the UK,
I've been
like everyone
it.
is flaying the UK government right now. They're like, you'll be like Blair remembered for the Iraq War. Cameron remembered for Brexit. Corbyn, they mentioned Corbyn here for being a useless Labour leader. And then they go Boris Johnson.
Not for an anti-Semite.
Well, there's that too, and alleged. So and Boris Johnson will be remembered for introducing authoritarian control regime governments that quell the people. People said that the UK voted for this. Boris got voted in 2019. Okay, that was over a year before this all hit the fan. We didn't vote for this. They voted for it because we have a different political system. We don't have we have first past the post. You have a system that people here seem to want. I fundamentally disagree with your system.
Which system? The fucking two-party system that has been broken for about six decades, if not longer.
That's an also Congress Senate thing. No. Your terms are also really weird.
Have that already?
Yeah,
honestly?
we do, but your term things are strange as well. I don't see a point. Party representation. We voted for them because of Brexit. Brexit's done. There's no way the Tories hold that majority at the next election anyway. You know this. It's just the only way they'll guarantee it is if Keir Starmer keeps opening his mouth and saying stupid shit.
Which he does.
All the fucking time.
We have one of those.
So in the United Kingdom, Boris has a plan. A plan. One I've referenced actually in this week at Twitter, actually, by the way. Krispy Kreme have said if you have your vaccination official card thing and you present it at Krispy Kreme, you get one of their original glazed donuts for free.
They are good.
I don't care for donuts. But sure. In the UK, there is an argument being made for passports of sorts when it comes to going into certain establishments like pubs. In the UK, 70 backbenchers have signed a letter railing against these plans. 41 of those are Tory MPs, which would be enough to wipe out the government's majority. They won't have a majority to get this through from their own party. They would have to get people from the other side. So this all hinges in the UK on Keir Starmer, who said that vaccine passports go against the British instinct. However, he has refused to commit his MPs and his whips into this. Downing Street have not have said they've got no plans for a domestic vaccine passport, but ministers have been caught pitch rolling for their use in recent weeks, and a scheme is already considered a done deal. They believe, the government, that what they're planning is a way of getting people back to doing things they love. But by doing so, you're actually forcing people to take the vaccines, air quotes here, to then be able to go and do what they want. Even though, and this is the hilarious thing in the UK, in the US, if you've got both your doses, you're considered safe. So you should be able to do no mask, meet up with all the people you want, do whatever you like. Not in the UK. Boris Johnson's already said, no, you can't meet up with other families. No. Infection rate and death is at its lowest in a long time. No, people, you still can't meet up, you still can't hang out, you still can't do shit. I'm sorry, but he's delaying. He's accused others of dither and delay before, but he's the one now dithering and delaying. I don't get it. And the argument here is that we've already surpassed. Haven't we already come close to surpassing 30 million doses or something? This rollout has done really well in the UK. Okay, that's getting close to half our population. And I don't see a point in having it. You shouldn't force people to take vaccines if they don't want it. You shouldn't then essentially socially shame them or prohibit them from being free, which is exactly what this does, and that is dangerous. Your turn. Sorry.
Well, no, it's okay, because the idea that this vaccine passport it presents on its face is, well, it's just a way for us to know that we don't have to worry about the spread of this virus anymore, is what they'll tell you. But then, okay, so what if I opt not to get it? Well, then that means that I could be barred from getting on a plane, getting on a cruise, going to a movie theater, going to concerts, going to large venues. If I wanted to go to sporting events, I may be barred from these things simply because I opted not to get a vaccine. Now, I'm not saying anyone should not get the vaccine. That's your fucking decision, and I'm not going to tell you how to live your fucking life. But it's under the guise of being good for everyone. You've created a system that will inherently cause division and a social stigma against those who do not follow the same line of thinking. As living the dream writes, it's pure blackmail. It kind of is. And they have been having some fights over here in the United States where for a while, what was it, Senator Rand Paul, I think, and Fauci had a back and forth in Congress asking, okay, so if I get the vaccine, I'm no longer able to transmit this virus, so that means I don't have to wear a mask anymore. Yes? And Fauci refused to answer in the affirmative. He just wouldn't say it. for whatever reason. I don't know why, but he just wouldn't say it.
Mm-hmm.
And he got into an argument with the senator during the hearing, and then a week later or so, the CDC comes out and says, yes, when you have the vaccine, you are not able to transmit the virus. That is what the CDC has said.
So that's the thing that my government is ignoring and saying, yeah, no, you still wear masks, you still social distance. No, you keep doing this because we're in this together, everyone.
Well, see, now Biden also has said that. That picture that I sent, that I said ominous Kamala Harris in our Discord, that's from an article from the National Review from 3 days ago, where Biden said that he calls her the reinstating of mask mandates for some states that have removed them. No. No, there's no reason. Because if people are now getting the vaccine and are therefore no longer able to transmit the virus, then you have no reason to say that they have to wear masks. Why? Let's say that your state or your area is 60% vaccinated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then combined with herd immunity, which does exist, and they have talked about it, or let's even say, because based on the amount of people that have had the virus and then have gotten over the virus, they apparently also are they're safe from the virus, allegedly, according to the CDC.
Right.
I'm not so sure about that one because different variants have caused some reinfection. It's been minimal, but still. So I'm a little slow on that one. But you have people who will then get sick, sure, and go to hospitals, sure, but you won't cause the issue that had started this whole thing, which was the 15 days to slow the spread. And we only slowed the spread so that our hospitals could handle the influx of people who were getting sick. That was the original purpose of that policy. It has been perverted over the year that we've just lived in 2020 to the point where you need to stay inside because you're killing grandma. All right. So now that these masks are coming out and all this, all the this, that, and the other is happening, and we can actually go outside again, but they're still calling for masks, and it looks like the CDC and the White House are kind of at odds on how they want to be giving their message to the people, because it appears as if the CDC and Biden are not working together lately. Jen Psaki will say one thing about things, or Fauci will say.
Isn't that the argument of? Isn't that the argument of the government's message is never in alignment with others? So either they get in alignment with us, or we just ignore you.
Yeah, that's how it usually comes out in practice. I don't know necessarily if that's always the case, but I do know that does exist, yeah, and that does happen. So the passport thing, though, I don't like it. I don't like the idea, because who's it going to be for? Like, realistically, who is the vaccine passport going to apply for?
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine, because you have to imagine what context that we're working under. We have a influx of migrants at the border, right? And we're letting them in. They have no vaccine passport. In fact, there's actually a 1 in 8 migrant children have the virus and are transmitting it amongst themselves. Now, of course, that's not as big of an issue, because those younger kids are much less likely to have fatal reactions to this, but it is still a problem. So who are these COVID passports actually for? Are they for the American people? Are they for the British people? How about if we wanted to go to somewhere like, I don't know, if I wanted to go to some Eastern European, if I wanted to go to the Ukraine, is the Ukraine going to acknowledge my vaccine passport?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to see it and go, yes, I acknowledge that this is a valid thing that we will respect, and yes, you can come in with that passport?
Can I
Or
throw a
are they going to
curve?
say, no, you didn't take our vaccine, so we don't trust
So
you? I don't
that's
know.
that's a curve I wanted to throw in. Um, what about countries that do not accept your vaccination? Like, so for example, in the United Kingdom, we have Moderna, AstraZeneca, and I know other ones. I assume
Pfizer.
penicillin and Viagra. Germany has been peddling the idea, France has too, that AstraZeneca creates blood clots, even though that has been debunked over and over and over again. Debunked by Americans as well.
Mm-hmm.
What if they don't consider the vaccine card that shows you taken AstraZeneca to be valid? Do you get turned around, or do you get stuck in a quarantine with more needles put into you so your arms are effectively useless for a couple more days?
Don't know. That's a great point that no one seems to have the answer for.
It's not just they don't have an answer, they don't have a core position. They're not in unity here because they all seem to think they know better. It's an arrogance, a world stage arrogance. I don't care for it.
But are you shocked?
No, I'm not. I'm not shocked in the slightest, and that annoys me as well.
Good. Me too.
Okay. Is there anything else we want to discuss on this subject?
No, I think we hit it pretty well.
Yay, us, we're done.
All right. Well, do you have anything to shill before we sign off?
No, but please, if you are listening here or on Spotify, either give us a follow there or please consider smashing like on YouTube. We'd greatly appreciate it. It helps the channel. I will be about over the weekend, but I'm doing an Easter egg hunt with my nieces and nephews, so I have to go and suffer a little.
I'm a dirty heathen, so I don't celebrate Easter.
Yes, well, it's shredding season for me, so we're not eating chocolate anyway.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
I think there's low carb chocolate, right?
I'm not doing chocolate. No.
Okay.
We ain't touching none of that.
All right. Well, I don't have anything either. So with nothing else, I'd like to thank you all for joining us. And thank you all for your very generous donations. And we will likely see you here next week, same time. Now that all the lovely, daylight savings is over, and we're back on our schedule.
I didn't even notice.
As normal.
Yeah. I didn't even notice. Oh dear.
I did, but whatever.
Sorry, man.
It's okay. But thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you all next week. Say goodnight.